is the feature card for D-Glow.
People are going to be nice and salty about that.
Well, I want to talk through this because I feel like we might not agree here. So we had Paul, Calvin, Ricky, and then Brody Smith.
Yes.
So, you have Paul, who I don't remember exactly the formula for how the Pro Tour decides their feature card, but it's basically like a fan vote, a sponsor vote, and then is it like the past 2 champions? Maybe it's like, I don't remember exactly what it is, but the performance at previous tournaments come into play, a fan vote comes into play, and then a sponsor vote.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the card, I would assume that Brody was the sponsor vote. Because
could have been the fan vote.
They could have been. I actually didn't see the fan vote go up.
It's got a lot of fans.
But I just know, I think Paul was on it because of, maybe it's the top, I wish I would have looked this up beforehand. There's something with the performance at the last event.
Yeah.
I think that's where Paul got onto it. And then Calvin and Ricky are just from their performances recently. And then one of them was probably the fan vote. And then I would imagine that Brody would be the sponsor or fan vote. Either way, let's say he was a sponsor vote. Do you think that the round 1, the first round he was on feature card, I was all for it because of all the eyes it was drawing to disc golf.
Yeah.
And I think that was, and then they let him post it to his YouTube channel after, which was a great move by the Pro Tour and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The second round, like I'm trying to look at it from the marketing perspective, right? You already saw the backlash for round 1, but round 1 I think made sense to a lot of people. Round 2, what's the angle of putting Brody back on it when he's just coming off Lyme? You know, his endurance is pretty much back up to normal, but at the same time, he's still learning a lot. There's still a lot that he has to figure out within his game. I talked to him after the Battle for Bedford, and I was like, if you had a caddy who like knew your bag and knew what you threw, how much would that have improved you? He said 10 strokes.
Yeah.
He's like, because sometimes I just step up to a lie and I don't have the experience or knowledge yet to know which shot I should pick and execute. So I'm just kind of left to my own devices. And he's like, if I had someone telling me, no, throw this with like on this line, he's like, executing it's easy. I just don't know which disc to pick and stuff like that, which makes sense. I mean, he's been playing since January. None of us 7 months into this thing knew which disc to pick on which line. And that comes with experience. But I'm curious to get your thoughts on him being on lead card and kind of what's the angle/goal of it.
Yeah, so this is an interesting subject because, disc golf has to, as we get more exposure, these events we're starting to come out with could be big for how we kind of are showing ourselves as a sport,
Yeah.
How we're kind of putting ourselves out there. So if we want to present ourselves, in the best way positive, how do we balance that with obviously, we're putting Brody on these cards because we want more viewers. And right now, Brody draws in viewers. So there's like a balance between, yes, we want a lot of viewers because we know people are drawn to watching Brody play and people are still probably curious to see how he plays. My big thing is, we don't want him to be on these feature cards if it's not really fair to him because, nothing against him. Obviously, he's new to the sport. But you're going out there with the best players in the world. We don't, you don't want to go on a feature card coverage and see some guy shoot 15 strokes worse than the other 3 guys.
Yeah.
And just look out of place. That's not a good presentation of the Pro Tour. But at the same time, it's tough because when you're getting so many more viewers because of him, you have to cater to that to some degree. It's just going to be like finding that point where if it gets a little stale to where like, okay, everybody's kind of seen Brody play, he'll still, maybe make a chase card, get on some film. But like, let's give the feature card to the guys that like are probably have the biggest shot of winning. Yeah.
I think the tough part is like, so when it comes to Brody's sponsorship and everything, I've voiced my opinion. It makes
complete sense.
Exactly.
If we're just selling discs and things like that, like, he's got influence.
I've voiced my opinion on that multiple times.
Yeah.
People who say that he doesn't deserve his spot in the sport, he doesn't deserve his spot on Discraft's team, that's honestly just ignorance.
Yeah.
Because, like, a sponsored spot isn't just about your play. If it was just about your play, there'd be way more sponsored players than there are today.
Yeah,
it's about your play and your ability to move plastic.
Yeah, a sponsor wants to make money. That's why they're sponsoring you.
Yeah.
Because they think if this guy is carrying my product, it will sell more. And that's absolutely true.
Well, look at it from this standpoint. There's only been 2 players that have broken Discraft's website. There's been a number of drops on their website. And the only players that have broken it has been Paul Macbeth and Brody Smith.
Yeah.
If that doesn't show you why he's sponsored, nothing will. Like the The guy can move plastic.
Yeah.
Right? But that's where it makes sense for Discraft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where it's the Pro Tour, the first round at Waco, perfect sense. The dude's first big tournament.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know, it makes perfect sense. But I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense too. Like, you're almost doing Brodie a disservice.
Yeah.
Because you're putting him in a position where he's going to feel like he's falling behind constantly, when realistically, he's playing with the guys that there's a chance they're coming first, second, third.
Yeah. They're the best of the best right now.
And so Brodie's goal right now isn't to come first, second, third.
No.
And, you know, yes, he wants to get there, but if I'm Brodie, I'm eyeing that like 20th place, like top 20. Because that if I had to put Brodie at like when he's playing great, where is his skill level right now? Honestly, it would be like 20th place.
Yeah,
like
I mean, he can shoot 1,000 rated golf.
Yeah.
We've already seen it. So, like, it's
but
not
that's
like...
the thing. Let's say he goes out and pops like a 10-20 rated round, like he did at DDO, 10-18. 10-18 rated round, first round. He's still going to be down, most likely, 5 or 6 to the card.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to, like, in his head, he's going to be like, oh, man, that wasn't a great round. When if he would have just been put with the field, you know, he'd have been building confidence, which he's probably very confident in general. I know from a fact he is, but I'm just saying the tournament confidence is a whole different ballgame.
Sure, yeah.
To be able to go out there and know I can perform. So if I was Brodie, if I was the Pro Tour, because Brodie will rise to the occasion.
Oh,
so my first round, he's shooting over 1,000 rated is my prediction.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to embarrass himself out there. He's a completely different player than he was when he played at Waco. He has a lot more experience, but if I was the Pro Tour and I'm looking at this, I'm putting him on like third card.
Yeah.
I'm putting him on that like a Central Coast or Gatekeeper Media type of coverage where there's video coverage of him. We put the live card is like Paul, Calvin, Ricky, and Kevin Jones. Or Adam Hammis. He's been tearing it up. Someone like that where it's going to be competitive golf all around. You know, it's still a super entertaining card. Yes, the viewership will not be the same.
Yeah.
I fully get that.
And I think it's probably really tough for them to say, let's go ahead and toss them on a Central Coast covered card when they know they probably are looking and seeing what their revenue looks like when Brodie's on their lead card, and it's probably significantly more.
So
it's probably hard to do.
Do you think that if this first round wasn't behind a paywall, would they make the same decision?
If it was going to be posted on YouTube.
Well, another thing is this even the Pro Tour's decision that's being made?
Or is it
just Discraft saying we want Brodie in front of more eyes within the disc golf world of him playing?
Yeah, that's...
Either way, all I'm saying is, and I don't know, I actually haven't talked to Brodie about being on feature cards, so I don't know how he feels about it. I'm sure he's probably stoked. But I just disagree with the decision personally. It's not that someone deserves it more. That's not the right word. The deserving it isn't the right word. Because if anyone deserves to be on a card, it would be Brodie in the sense of how many eyes he can bring to the sport.
Yeah.
That side I get. But I think it's almost being a disservice to Brodie in like we just talked about the fact that he's not going to be competitive with that feature card.
Yeah.
And if he is, he's either playing way above what he's shown to be capable of playing, or the feature card isn't playing great. Mm-hmm. Just because he's not at that point yet. How fast he's progressed is insane. And so I think a year from today, we're having a completely different conversation. I think, a year from today, he might be a top 10, top 5 player because his drive's that insane. But in the current state of Brodie's play, in the current state of the Pro Tour, I think that his realistic goal should be like third, fourth card. Yeah. Which... if he started there and saw he was like him and 3 or 4 other like noticeable names, and he was on coverage still, I think that would be a much better place and a much better decision if it's the Discraft choice. If it's the Pro Tour choice, it's hard not to make the money decision. Mm-hmm. But I know that's going to be a big talking point, and I know there's going to be a lot of people upset about it.
Well, sure.
What I'm always curious in or interested in is, if I see a post on Instagram or whatever, and you might not be this way, but if I see it and I disagree with it, that's when I'm going to write a comment. Personally. I'm never going to see a post, unless it's something like you just got engaged. A post like that's like positive. First off, comment down below, congratulate him.
Thank you.
But a post like that's positive, that you're like, oh, dude, congrats. That I'll comment on. But a post that just like makes me feel like neutral or like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm not going to comment on it unless it's like over the top. But then if it's a post of like something that sucks or I disagree with something, I'm going to comment on it. So part of me wonders when we see decisions like this, when we see something with Brody on feature card, or really when we see anything with Brody in general in disc golf right now, how much, I don't think that the social media posts and stuff are really telling the true tide of disc golf currently.
No.
Because I think there's a lot more Brody supporters and people who like want to see Brody succeed and are like diehard Brody fans, and there are people who are keyboard warriors saying how much it sucks.
The majority can be silent a lot of times, and there's like social media is a prime example of this, because like one of the big examples is like ESPN's accounts, right? We're seeing a lot of Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Tom Brady, those kind of names, and all you ever hear is people complaining. Oh, especially Tiger Woods, I hear this a lot. People complain, whenever Tiger's playing, it's all we see on the coverage. It's all ESPN posts about. Like, I just can't stand it. And there's a reason ESPN's doing that. It's because it generates the most clicks, the most views, the most money for them. If the majority actually wanted something else, they would change it. These companies have to listen to what the majority says, because that's the way they're going to be the most successful. So yeah, I think that might be the case with the Brody thing too. The people who are very outspoken might be the loudest, but they might not be the majority.
Yeah. I just think it was, I don't know. I thought it was interesting because I think the first time made a lot of sense. And I think the second time, first off, I think the second time will silence some of the haters, because some haters are still saying that Brody sucks, which that isn't the case.
He's not bad.
So you'll see him play and unless he has a bad round, he's probably going to put off something like 1,000+ rated, which, realistically, the majority of us, me included, like if I went out and played today, I'm not putting up 1,000 rated round.
No.
Have I before? Sure, but I was a heck of a lot a different player than I am right now. And I feel like that's like a normal disc golfer isn't shooting 1,000 rated. If we were, there'd be the 1,000 rated wouldn't be 1,000 rated. That's the whole point. So I think that he'll silence some of it in just his play. But I do think from just like I don't know. I don't even know where my stance comes from. It might just be coming from like, I want to see Brody succeed. And so that's why I'm like, it doesn't really make sense to put him here, because like from a Pro Tour standpoint, it makes sense. From a Discraft standpoint, it makes sense because you want the views, you want people to want to watch disc golf. And from a Discraft standpoint, in bringing more viewers with Brody, you're bringing more viewers to Paul, your best player. So from that standpoint, it makes sense. From the Pro Tour standpoint, you're bringing more paid subscribers. So that makes sense. So I guess the only place it doesn't make sense is when I'm thinking about Brody's play. And maybe Brody looks at it a different way. Maybe he's looking at it as, I get to see where I'm at compared to the best of the best.
I do wonder that like in, when Pro Tour, whoever's meeting about this, if their kind of strategy is, okay, we're going to do this a certain amount of times and then just stop. Or if they're like, okay, we'll keep doing this until he's shooting consistently below 1,000 rated, then it makes really no sense. Then we'll take him off. Like, where's their breaking point for like, okay, no more Brody on feature cards?
Yeah, I don't know. And, they probably aren't even having that meeting. They're probably just like, meh, who's going to be on feature card this week?
Yeah, it looks good on the thumbnail. It looks really good.
Yeah.